I need some competition out here. Come on.
Yeah, because they have to do that. Our people don't.
All right, man. So some breaking news coming in today. LSU standout football star Kyren Lacy passes away, and they're suspecting right now that he unalived himself. Now, a little bit of the backstory. He was arrested earlier this year for a deadly hit and run crash, and it was made the national news. It was going crazy. Now, his lawyer put out this statement. The family's lawyer said, "It is with profound sorrow that we confirm the tragic passing of Kyren Lacy. First and foremost, we ask that the public and the media give his family the space and time they need to grieve this unimaginable loss in peace." Kyren was scheduled to have his matter heard before a grand jury tomorrow, wherein we were very confident the evidence, after being fully collected and reviewed, would lead to the declination of the charges. From the very beginning, this so-called investigation took an appearance of an overzealous targeted effort. We can only be described as a witch hunt fueled by who Kyron was and the public profile that he carried. The decision by the investigating agency to charge him at all, in our view, was not only unjustified, it was disturbing. It is imperative to understand that the LaFranchi Parish District Attorney to this day has not formally charged Kyron. Kyron was a young man with immense promise, and we are crushed under the weight of an irresponsible and prejudiced process. The negative barriers on social media, right? The circulation of his mugshot by nearly every news outlet rather than a standard photo. The recent civil suit filed against him that named another defendant who mysteriously wasn't charged with the crime. Only him, right? Only him. So the lawyer is, pretty much painting this, picture like, look, y'all can say what y'all want about what was going to happen and, the pressure that he was under, but we thought that they were going to drop this charge. They were going to definitely drop this charge, and, he was going to walk free. Now, he goes on to say, right? He goes on to say there was never a presumption of innocence, which was exemplified by the NFL pulling his draft card over mere accusations without affording him the slightest chance to defend himself. The pressure and perception likely became unbearable. So he's pretty much saying the NFL cracked under the pressure. Let us be absolutely clear. This is far from over. We will be demanding a full and transparent review of how this investigation was conducted and why those responsible for its gross miscarriage of justice must be held accountable. In the meantime, again, we urge everyone to respect Lacey's family, privacy, and allow them the dignity to mourn the loss of their beloved son. Now, I see a lot of people running with a particular narrative that he did this because of this and he did this because of that. I mean, maybe he didn't want to go to jail. Maybe, it was too much, but the lawyers paint a different picture. Like, yo, we felt like we were confident, that not only would he beat these charges, but it wouldn't even go through with it. Like, they was going to drop this because of the evidence. So that's telling right there. Doesn't mean it's correct, but that's very telling right there that the attorney is like, nah, this is some BS. This is a, miscarriage, a misconception of law. This is a witch hunt. This guy is going to be an NFL star. They're coming after him because of his name. The NFL done cracked under pressure. This person cracked under pressure, but we're good. So this is a sad situation, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. To see a young man with such a wide receiver with such to go to LSU, you already know what it is. Jay Jettas, all the great players, Burrow that went to LSU. This is sad, man. So, condolences, to the person that was killed in the hit and run, and now condolences to the young brother who pretty much they're saying that he may have, took his own life. But we'll see as things come forward in the next coming. Off the record a little bit. with the Kyren, Lacy situation. I just wish that the brother just would have, I know there's a lot of, speculation right now. I just wish that the brother would have just held on. Because one thing we don't talk about a lot, we talk about homicide, we talk about, black on black this, but we never really talk about the suicide, rate in our community and how many people actually, end it all because of mental illness or something they're going through, and I don't think they can bounce back, like their career is going to be over. I just wish that he would have, waited and trusted, his attorneys. And this is just, going off what they're saying right now, right? Because it's very early in the process, right? But think about it. Like, you got, for the Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Carter, same exact situation. It was a race, a little bit different, but, it was a race. Somebody passed away. As a result of it, he wasn't criminally charged, but he, it was some civil liability there. And he also, it hurt his draft stock a bit, and people thought it was a character issue. So if anything, it would just hurt your draft stock, right? If anything. So I just wish that if the story is saying what they saying it is, I just wish that the young brother would have just held on, man, and just waited. Because, that's why they say mental health, is key, because everybody's not cut from the same cloth. Some people can't deal with certain things. It could have been another person and they would have dealt with it like a G. They'd be like, all right, it is what it is. But somebody else might go to drastic measures, and unseen measures, and thinking that that's going to solve the problem, man. So that's just a heart-to-heart, for the young brother, man, diving into the story, getting into the story, and obviously, there was somebody who passed away previously. My heart goes out to them. I don't want that to be lost, and what I'm speaking about. But it's like, front and center right now is this LSU superstar football player, who was going to the NFL, who was going to try to make a career for himself, turn his life around, turn this, create generational wealth. And now, it's the old additive now to the person that was taken away from the hit and run, and now yourself, is now deceased. So again, I just always, talk to people, let people know they can always talk to you. Let people know that they can always, you could be the shoulder to lean on. And that it's not the end of the world, no matter how. We've been through some stuff in life. I'm sure y'all, people listening, we have been through some things, man, in life where it's like, man, we thought, but it's just like, one thing I know, no matter how much it rains, one day, when you crack open your eye, the sunshine is going to shine. Man, I just hope that, I just wish that the brother would have seen that. I just wish that he would have seen that. But rest in peace to the young brother Kyren Lacy, and rest in peace, obviously, to the person that was, deceased as well as a result of the hit and run. It's your brother, Oh God.